You want trim the top or you want to leave it?
I guess just trim like the back, you know.
Trim the back.
I like the front with the hella
So
volume, you know what I'm
okay,
saying?
so you want, okay. So what I'll do is, I'll kind of see where it goes. So like, you see right here where it naturally splits, I'll see how this kind of just hangs right there?
Yeah.
Well, I'll take care of that for you. That way when you comb your hair, I'll slick it back with it. That way it won't be so heavy.
Yeah.
Because naturally your hair wants to go up and swoop down. And your hair is hella thick too, so I take off some of that thickness of it too as well.
Just do what you gotta do, playboy.
I know Lucas is coming out at 1.
Huh?
Lucas is coming right now at 1.
Oh yeah.
Party.
There you go.
Right here I'm just splitting his hair, kind of where his hair wants to lay already. And since there's no hair underneath this, I'm not going to cut it right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it and I'm going to over-direct it this way. That way when he slicks it back, there's weight there. So I'm going to take a little section. I'm going to leave that alone. I'll take another section. I'm gonna over direct it backwards. The reason why we didn't cut right here is because I want to keep that weight line. So when he slicks it back, it looks more natural. But there's no hair underneath this, so there'd be no point of cutting that. So I'm gonna leave that way it's more naturally flicks it back. And most of the weight is in the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a section, and instead of keeping it square, I'm gonna keep it round on the back right here. The reason I'm keeping it round is that once it falls, it's a better profile. On the back right here, I'm gonna keep it square, and I'm gonna point cut, so give it that more of that natural look. And since he has straight hair, that you have to point cut, or else it's gonna sit flat. See right there's your guideline. I just follow that. Same thing right here is you want to keep it round at a 90. Keep it round, point cut at that texture end. And then once it gets down to the bottom, you want to keep it square because you want to build weight. When you want to take off weight, you're going to keep things round. When you want to build weight, you're going to keep things square. And a good way to remember that is the higher you elevate, the more weight you're going to take off, and the more round it's going to look. If you see how straight his hair is, like, you have to point cut, because if you don't point cut, you're literally gonna just give him a blunt, and you if you don't point cut, you're gonna see that blunt line you left. So right here, I'm doing it at a 90. Keep keeping it round. Now right here, once you get to the bottom, we're gonna keep it square because we want to build that weight. We're building weight. As you can see, I never let go of the hair. I always have some kind of hair section in my comb or in my fingers. So he mainly just wanted me to touch up the back, which is pretty much good because he wants to keep the volume in the front. You can see we're working with that cowlick because it wants to go this way. And since his hair is thick, and to give him more of that volume look that he wants, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a section of the front, and we're not gonna take off weight. All we're simply gonna do, we're gonna grab our texturizing shears, and we're not gonna do this. We're gonna point cut with them. This is gonna create more of that jagged look and more of that fluffy look, more of that fluffy, airy look that he's looking for. So again, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna point cut. Flat. So we're gonna grab the section, and we're not gonna do this. We're gonna grab another section. That's gonna do is gonna be easier for him to style, especially how thick his hair is. This is gonna complement that. So how it stays up without any product. That's what you mainly want when you're cutting hair. Is you don't want the product to be a problem. You want the product to enhance what he already has. And if you look at it, it stays up without even any product. If this happens, if you're already doing this, that means you're doing your job right. Always grab your thinnest attachment for your blow dryer, and what you're gonna do is we're gonna style the hair first before fading. So we're gonna, on medium heat, grab a section and blow dry it backwards. We're gonna start from the back and work our way to the front. Now to add volume, all you're simply gonna do is you're gonna grab a Benton brush and grab your hair, grab a section of the hair and blow dry upwards. This is gonna do is gonna create that maximum volume that he wants. Do you guys remember that one section I told you guys not to cut? I'm going to show you guys why it's important to leave it, because it's right here. Look, see how it looks more natural? If I were to cut that off, it will look disconnected. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit it with the cold shot, and what it's gonna do is gonna freeze what you already have done. Get volume. Boy. You better stop playing with me. This is no product, guys. No product. All right, so I really love styling my client's hair before I do the fade because it just allows me to mold what else I need to do once I'm done with the fade. Okay, so since he wants a draw fade, we're gonna use our eyebrow as an indicator and make our first indentation, make our first incision, and follow that all the way to the back and drop it right where the mastery process ends, which is behind the ear. Okay. Follow that all the way around. Focus. All the way around. Be sure you're consistent with your guidelines and try to match it evenly on both sides, because if you don't, you'll definitely notice it. It's still a little wet, So follow that all the way and keep that same indication right there, which is the eyebrow. For content purposes, you always want to over exaggerate things, especially when you're doing like shorts, like short form content. So instead of doing this, you're gonna want to do something like this. And do you see how that hair falls off? That right there is called an action clip. So right now I'm just softening up that line that I just did with my trimmer. I'm literally just dabbing it up. I'm saying hot. So the next thing what we're gonna do is we're going to line up the C cup. This will give me another indication on where to blend. I want to stay in between the lines. Okay, and then again, you want to make sure you soften up that line that you did previously when you put the trimmer. Okay, so what you want to do now is you're going to debulk all that hair. Make sure it's nice and bald. We're gonna grab our number 2 guard. Close it all the way, set our base. This will just make it easier to blend to once you set your base. It don't have to be a 2. I just feel like the 2 is a good medium between when you want to blend and keep things darker, especially on the C cup area. Whenever I say C cup area, it's right here. If you guys ever want some JRLs, these things fly through bulk. These things have a 2-speed. So it has 1 and 2 speeds, so they fly through bulk. So if you guys need some of these, boy, they're really good. They're so good that I copped 2 of them. I have the black. These are so good that I copped 2 of them. I had the black one and the white ones. I copped the white ones because me personally, I like white. I think white has more of an aesthetic than black does. Plus, these are limited edition, so you really can't find these anymore. So open up that lever. What you're gonna do now is you're gonna flick as hard as possible and just soften up that top line, which is right here. One of the things that one of the biggest mistakes that I see barbers do is when they're doing the quick over comb technique is they use a dark comb when they're doing it with light hair or dark hair. I mean, you want to use something that's the opposite of the contrast that you're cutting. What I mean by that is if it's black, use a light comb, like pink, white especially, and if you're messing with blonde, a good opposite of that is obviously a black comb, which is like what I see a lot. Over here, I'm just further polishing that shape. This is why it's important to do scissors over first to cement in that shape. So now what we're going to do now is we're going to sit in our first guideline, open the lever all the way up, and you want to keep it a finger width, and be sure you don't want to leave, like you don't want to do this. That's going to leave a harsh line. What you want to do is you want to flip. It's going to be a lot easier for you to take that line out. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. I'm telling you, these JRLs, they fly through the hair. I have yet to have any issues with these. I'm gonna grab our one guard, close it, and we're going to do the same thing, finger width. You always want to get all the mechanical stuff done first. That way you have more time to detail. Okay, get all the mechanical stuff done first. Like get the haircut done first, and then at the end you want to focus more on detailing. Detailing is where you're gonna focus most of your time on. So again, on this side, you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna do the same thing, finger width. Remember, you want to keep things organized. Finger width is the way to go. If you go anything more than that, you're gonna get lost. You're gonna get lost in that sauce, boy. Open that up all the way up. Soften up that top line for the next step. We're gonna grab our half guard, which is the gray one. I personally like using Speedos. If you know what Speedo guards are, if you know, you know. You're gonna go in and connect the one open to the half. So close it half waist. Always start half waist with the half guard and connect the two. Open up all the way now. You're gonna wanna use your corners only and attack that top line. Just connect it to it. It doesn't have to be perfect at first, because what you wanna do is you wanna set it up so when you go back to detail, you have more to work with. As you can see, it's coming together now. I like to leave the bottom line for the end. I know a lot of barbers that take the bottom line out first, but to me, I feel like if I were to take out that bottom line, I feel like I get lost. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but for me, I feel like I get lost. So I always leave that bottom line for the last. And a lot of people, and especially barbers that like have been cutting for a while, they always tell me like, oh, well, take out that first line first. And I mean, for me, I guess I control the contrast better if I were to take out that bottom line towards the end. So now that's what I'm gonna do with my wall seniors. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but I feel like the quarter clippers cut really good for that bottom line. I don't know if it's just me. But maybe we're just gonna tuck that bottom line all the way closed. Use your corners only. This is where that detailing phase starts kicking in right here, boy. You'll hear this a lot, lever play. You want to lever play that thing. And pretty much all that really is you're going to go up and down with your lever. The higher it is, the higher the lever, the less hair you're going to cut. The lower the lever, the more hair you're going to cut. Essentially what barbers means when they're doing that. Some of the common mistake that I see is a lot of barbers try to brush this part, and this is the part where it makes everything pop. So right here I'm going all the way open. One thing you gotta remember too, anything past the ear backwards, like back to back, it's gonna be ultra thick. So whatever step you do over here, you wanna drop it down one notch in the back. So let's say for example, I do one open over here, I'm gonna do a one closed over here. Because anything behind the ear is always gonna be thicker. Now I'm gonna go with our one, close it halfway. So remember what I said about whatever you do over here, you want to do a little bit close on this side. And obviously, if you need to keep things a little bit more longer, then feel free to play with that lever. So right here, I'm going with the all the way close, and I'm attacking this dark spots right here. This is what a lot of barbers won't tell you is they'll use a smaller number in the back because the back hair is a lot thicker than the front. And I feel like that's one thing I wish I knew when I started cutting hair was if I knew that the back hair was a lot thicker than the front, I would have learned things a lot quicker. So right here I'm just detailing. What I love about these combs right here, these brushes, is they have a comb attached to the brush. So to save time, I use these, especially when I'm detailing, because I don't have to put my comb down and get my brush when I can just flip it and boom, boom, I'm ready to go. So right here, I'm just gonna detail this. You can be very careful since the comb is black. I always try to take that into consideration when I'm cutting. So be very, very careful where you're cutting. Another technique I wish I knew when I started cutting hair is point cutting the dark spots with your thinning shears. That's another good technique to use for detailing purposes. It just makes the blend look more contrasty, more fluffy. Okay, since he wants a design, you see he has a scar right here. I'm going to use that scar as an indication. So that's where I'm going to start. So for the design, you want it to start at your eyebrow, or how do you want it?
No, yeah, start at the eyebrow, yeah.
So if you want to start at the eyebrow, I'm going to make my first incision right here. And then I'm going to follow it right here with my corner of my blade. And be sure that I use the scar as an indication. So now I'm gonna go with it. Follow it. I mean, you're doing designs. You never want to do it like as if you were kind of like drawing. You want to like meet the lines in the middle. something I wish I knew when something I wish I knew when I started doing designs is I always try to connect the lines, but it's always meeting them, right? You never ever want to like do this and try to draw it. You always want to meet the lines. Okay. So here's another line right here. I'm gonna do another one right here. Usually when I do designs too, it's always a freestyle or based off whatever I see online. So since I started like this on this one, I'm gonna come from the top like that. See how I'm like meeting the line? I'm not drawing it. I'm like meeting it. So here I'm gonna hit it from the top right here. Be sure you know your trimmer, because sometimes when you put your trimmer in a certain position, it cuts deeper and you don't want to break skin. That's the last thing you want to do is cut your client. And then it also sucks too, because when you do cut your client, when you try to detail that design, it just messes it up, because you can't detail it further because you cut that client. Right here, I felt it tug a little bit, so I'm gonna be careful. I might have cut him right here, so I gotta be very, very careful. So I'm gonna do another line right here, but I'm not going to connect it. I'm gonna do like as if it were going through. Going to sleep, boy.
Yeah. My favorite part about the haircut, like it's relaxed.
It's a little me time, he said.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is by far one of my favorite trimmers. If you pair it with that little blade, it reminds me of the Slimline, and it's literally my favorite trimmer right now. It's tiny. You can get in little areas. You don't have to try so hard to. It's really, really good. So if you use the Saber Precisions, these are very similar to that. But I personally can't stand the way the Sabers look. To me, they look ugly. To me, this is a way better design. So right here, I'm probably gonna add like another a little flare right here. You see how I'm not drawing on it, I'm meeting it. Right? A little bit?
No.
Are you falling asleep?
Yeah. Okay.
You always gotta check in with your client, you feel me? Is he breathing? Is he alive? Yeah, let your design, your creativity shine right here. On me personally, I never charge extra for designs, because I feel like for me it's an opportunity for me to get creative, and I don't do them often too. So when I do get them, I get really excited. You know, because who knows what I'm gonna cook up? You know what I mean? The circle over here, I don't know what I did with it, but it looks fire. Usually too, whenever I do designs, like towards the end, I'll come back to it and I'll like touch it up or whatever. Pretty much it, guys. If you guys like this video, please subscribe, please like, leave a comment down below on what else I should be doing. What else do you guys want to learn as far as haircuts go? So right here I'm just finishing up a style. I'm using some matte hair cream. Start off from the front, and way to the sides. Gonna really complement that shape that we cemented in. That's right. Set up. Set up.
I'm just like, hey, I'm just trying to light a cake with you guys.
He ain't even going on a date.
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to put it, man.
I wouldn't ever want to lie to you guys like that. Not that deep. Yeah, that's desperate. Once we find out. You really be lying on us. Yeah,